It was difficult to keep track of the exact time we'd been on Kalka, but Mikri was happy to supply a specific answer. 2 months, a week, 5 days, 17 hours and 53 minutes. I half expected him to count it all the way down to the femtosecond. The time had flown by in the blink of an eye. The Vaskar apparently had repaired our ship within a week, but they had to wait for Earth to utilize the portal again. Humanity did send a probe, which had a long antenna, through the gap earlier today. I suppose that was an attempt to have one foot still on Sol's side, and transmit back to Pluto Station what they could see. They probably assumed that we were long dead, though at least they sent a search party to verify. That was the activity our alien hosts needed to pinpoint the gap's location. The Vaskar were delivering the ship we'd ride home in, with some modification to not be the death trap it had when we first entered this dimension. Sophia and I hiked up to the tallest place on the island, where we'd wait for our craft. My heart felt heavy as a stone, thinking of leaving Mikri behind. I was used to him being our shadow, and enjoyed his company at times. I found myself drifting off into memories, and wondering whether he'd miss us like we would miss him. He'd wanted nothing to do with the emotional nuisances at first, after all. This goodbye might be rough only for the human guests. "You've heard music, Mikri. Let's teach you how to dance," I declared, as we returned to the facility's lobby after the 3rd camping trip. "Gotta let it flow through you. Move in time with the beat. Shake that thick metal suit." The Vaskar's helmet stared straight at me, with what I can imagine was utter dismay. "What is wrong with you? Are you broken? Is this what that heat stroke you told me about looks like?" "I'm not having heat stroke. We've got to make you have some fun in your life. You'll like it. Just stop thinking and dance." "I do not understand this word, or how to heed your request. Are you saying that humans move in some particular way in response to music?" "Exactly. It's fine that you don't know how. Experiment. Dance like you're on fire. Jump around, be wild." "Sophia, please help." The scientist smirked, palming her chin. Perhaps Mikri would benefit from something more structured, like a line dance. He could mimic our movements, and it'd be a repetitive pattern we could act out together. "Demonstrate?" Sophia showed the Vaskar the skedaddle, a dance of arm wiggling and scooting side to side that I remember from 2490's middle school. I thought I could hear Mikri muttering the word "why" over and over, at a tone that seemed intended to be near inaudible. I fell in at my colleague's side, turning 90 degrees to start it again. We both could sing the simplistic tune's instructions. Both of us beckoned for Mikri to join us. "It's okay, try it," Sophia encouraged the Vaskar, who shook his head. I clapped my hands together, grinning. "Mikri, Mikri, Mikri." "Mikri is not doing this," the alien grumbled. "Please? It'll make me happy." "Is that a typical reason for humans to do things? To make others happy?" Sophia paused her dance, not treating that inquiry with the levity I would have. "What you want should always matter too. If other people's happiness makes us happy, then sometimes we will do things that are inconvenient or that we otherwise would not. It feels good when someone we care about feels good." "I see." The alien took a single side step and threw his wrist downward, with a half-hearted attempt. "There, I did it." "Nuh-uh." I ran over to Mikri, dragging him by the wrist to stand alongside us. "You're trapped. You have to." "I thought you said you didn't want me to be a mindless slave." "I don't. I only want you to be a mindless party animal, Mikri dear." The Vaskar miserably fell in with our dance routine, standing shoulder to shoulder with 2 humans, doing a goofy dance that had nothing to do with logic. Our culture was spreading. Score 1 for Preston. I looked at Mikri, knowing I had to pull some antics before we left. I ran up behind the Vaskar and hopped onto his back. The alien teetered off balance before demonstrating stop, drop, and roll in a confused panic. I laughed at his reaction to the goofy ape suddenly tackling him for a piggyback ride. The poor guy would definitely be happy when I was on the ship and gone. Sophia shook her head at me. How has she refrained from pulling the rigid fellow's leg at all? His responses were a goldmine. "What? I'm messing with him. That's what friends do." I protested to Sophia. The scientist snorted. Do you think he liked that? Mikri is amused deep down. The second he gets a joke is the second he appreciates the absurd. And then he's just like me. I do not understand what compelled you to do that, the Vaskar grumbled. It's a random thought that popped into my head. You grasp our playful nature by now. A good-natured way of showing positive emotions, Sophia remarked. Preston is a goofball, you know that. A silly creature who very much likes games. I remember when he insisted I play trivialities with you. I smiled with pride in myself, recalling how I'd persuaded Mikri to play hide-and-seek a few weeks ago. The Vaskar had walked around for 20 minutes before thinking to look under the bed. He was a hopeless seeker. His hiding hadn't been much better. I turned around, seeing the black metal suit immediately from behind the translucent water jug. Mikri, come out. You know there's see-through, right? Where was I supposed to go? I don't wander this facility imagining what cabinets I could stuff myself inside, the Vaskar complained. Maybe you should. Or you could improvise. This game has no purpose. It is a waste of time. Sophia groaned, seeming to fall from some surface as she forsook her hiding spot to soothe Mikri. Why is it a waste of time to you? Please explain. I told you. It is a meaningless contest. I am to sit in one place so that I may avoid being spotted by another being. This achieves nothing of value and serves no purpose. All of your games are silly and perhaps only exist in search of these chemical releases. That would not have been a respectable career, Preston. Thanks a lot, I grumbled. I do grasp the concept of sarcasm. You place value in a game and enjoyed it. I do not enjoy it. These things are not for me. Wait, Mikri, can I explain the value of games to you? Sophia prompted. I struggle to see any viable conjecture, but yes. It's a way to test your skills against others. Games measure certain abilities in a safe, controlled environment, and usually have clear ways to measure results, just like science. We appreciate those at the apex of what humans are capable of. It's satisfying if we're the ones who are victorious in these tests, when competing with our peers. Some, like this one, force us to use our brains and enhance our abstract reasoning abilities. Those are some concrete reasons we find games fun. But why? The pursuits are trivial. They are not a serious subject material. That's kind of the point, Mikri. It's stressful to be serious all the time. Whatever is happening in your life is an outlet, a way to untangle your anxieties and escape the burdens that you're struggling with. Emotions can be difficult and fickle, as you described. I do not have chemical ups and downs. I know, but I believe you have a need for fulfillment and connection. You must feel sad, and like you're missing something that would bring peace to your soul, if you ask whether you're a real person. The important thing is that we're doing these activities together. Yeah, spending time with Preston, the hide-and-seek champ, beats everything. I almost stuffed myself in the air vent. You're lucky I settled for the bed, Mikri. I prodded the alien. I went easy on you. The Vaskar cast a glance at the ceiling vent, perhaps deciding how to weld it shut. This does not compute. Why is it important to do these activities together, Sophia? The scientist smiled with sincerity. Because the meaning in games can be found in spending time with people you like. Those moments are never a waste. They're what really matters in the end. The Vaskar stood on the hillside beside us, as we took our last look at the island. The ship would be here in 60 seconds or less, which meant we wouldn't have much time. I doubted Mikri would like a lengthy goodbye. Had we left an impression on him at all, or did he still not see the purpose in anything humans did? The alien hesitated before placing a paw on each of our shoulders. I will notice your absence for an amount of time, Mikri said with reluctance. That's a strange way to say he'll miss us, if that's what he meant. Teach me one last thing that humans do. Alright, give me a moment. I let my eyes sweep over the gorgeous island, practically untouched by civilization. It was like we could see everything standing atop the world. I cupped my hands to mouth and screamed at the top of my lungs, Woo! Hell yeah! Preston was here! Sophia pondered the moment before grabbing a few rocks and throwing them off the hillside on a whim. I took note of how far they went, rocketing all the way to the ocean. She was skipping pebbles a mile away. I don't know if you have the impulse to do one of those two things, Mikri, but I'm going to miss this place. I'm going to miss you. The Vaskar didn't reciprocate the last comment. The stones are a game? But I can't throw that far. I get that part. Why is Preston being loud, though? I gave him a loopy grin. Because it's stupid and it's fun just to not care. You want to be free, you have to do things. Why? Just because. Just because. That was a sentence fragment. It means there's no reason, none at all. You felt like it, so you did it because you can. For the hell of it. That does not make sense. There is no purpose to this shouting. He wanted to, Mikri. That was purpose enough, Sophia said gently. What do you feel like doing, if you act on whatever floats through your mind? Do something you want to do, just because? The Vaskar whirled around and instead my colleague in a tight hug. Her eyes softened, before she returned the embrace in earnest. I stood by awkwardly, feeling like a third wheel. Mikri liked my logical comrade as opposed to me. The alien didn't give time for that thought to sink in, as he turned from Sophia and wrapped his arms around my torso. I felt a bit of a lump in my throat, as I patted my hand on the back of his helmet. I didn't know if I'd ever see him again. Affection. It is silly, yet I wanted to show it. So I did, Mikri stated, as the ship began to land behind him. It looked good as new and plenty flight-worthy here, yet somehow I didn't feel ready to leave. My apologies for the distraction. We put a switch, a big red button as you say, that'll change the computer's physics calculations when you go through the breach. One setting for here, one for there. Sophia ducked her head. Seems simple enough, thank you. That'll make it possible to hopefully not crash next time. Yes, travel at 12.0 speeds on our side if you wish. We put our mapping guidance data in to avoid collisions, and also, so you can find your way back to Calca one day. The breach is clearly marked on the map, and we locked it in as your destination. I implore you not to enter the portal going faster than your speed of light, though. Why not? I asked. You would violate causality, and you would not be able to stop. I do not think you understand, but it would take infinite energy to slow down. When you get close to a universe's variable for c, physics become rather irrational. I recommend you don't add more than a 0 to the end of your normal pace when you go through. And don't forget the switch. Thank you, Mikri. I'm humbled that you implied you're willing for us to come back, Sophia remarked. Yes, we wish to make that simple. A Vaskar ship will tie a tether to your ship and pull it back at your sublight speeds in 2 months' time. It is much easier to accelerate you pulling from our side. You may cut the tether if you do not wish to revisit us, though I would be disappointed by this. I grinned at him. Oh, don't worry, we'll be back. Thank you for everything. Humanity will be over the moon when they learn all of this. You're going to have more scientists than you can handle trying to get in. You'll need to build lots of indoor showers while you're gone. I'm thrilled about this. See? That was sarcasm. Mikri seemed pleased with himself, so I didn't have the heart to tell him you weren't supposed to explain when you were being sardonic. He herded us toward the ship, though he seemed to be walking slowly. We reached the ramp in no time regardless. Before you go, might I make a request for you to pass on to Earth? Please, if there's anything we can do to repay your kindness, we'd be happy to extend the message, Sophia answered. We need help. Military help. The Alliance overran the border between our space and theirs. I fear for our continued existence a decade from now without outside intervention. I understand you may not wish to be involved in a conflict that does not threaten you, but I suppose I'm throwing myself upon your kindness. I have no choice. A frown crossed my features. Mikri, I'm not saying we're unwilling to help you, but we need more details to make a decision like that. More about who we're fighting with and about how this conflict all started. That is a huge commitment without knowing some key factors. The Vaskar walked us over to our pilot seats. as the suited aliens who'd flown the ship up here vacated it. "Consider it, please. We're desperate, and all we want is to survive the war, but that's unacceptable to them. Tell Earth we'll make it worth their while. We'll help you travel back and forth from your dimension to ours, improve your technology, give you ships and any other gifts you fancy. We'll even help you meddle with the Aleutians, if you really want to look there." "You never told us more about them." "We can tell you everything we know of them, if you help. Rattling the cages of an interdimensional empire? We need an incentive to do that. You need an incentive to help us." "We don't need an incentive, Mikri, although I'm sure it sweetens the pot. What we need is the truth." The alien lingered over my seat for several seconds, before gesturing to the escort ship that'd follow us and hold our tether, pretending I'd never said that. "Goodbye, my friends. Pass along our message. I hope you travel safely." "Thank you, Mikri," Sophia said, as she slunk off the ramp. "We'll miss you, you hear me?" Sealing the boarding partition to our spacecraft, we blasted off the ground without further ado. Mikri was the only Vaskar who didn't seem to be hurrying us along. I stared at the rations they'd left by our feet, yet another thing they'd given us, though we knew so little about our alien friends. The ship flew as smoothly as possible thanks to their handiwork, and I settled in for the handful of hours it'd take to reach to the gap. There was going to be a massive spike of chatter when we reappeared out of nowhere. Whatever happened with the Vaskar and their war, our return was about to change human history forever.